Just as Herod demanded the death of every firstborn son, as did Pharaoh demand the death, the podcast boom has demanded the death of every less than good podcast. And we have saved ourselves from the cull by being the one, the only, the effervescent, the irreplaceable, the indomitable, a word I learned today. It's Natural Treasures podcast, but the interview version. There we go. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Will Duggan. How are you, my darling?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just managed to use Herod as the third word to a 21st century podcast, so feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that actually has nothing about that either. We're not talking about that part of history, not talking about that part of the world.
No, but I was talking about people that demanded a cull.
True. Is it just you demanding this cull of podcasts then? Because I'm not sure anybody else cares. Isn't everybody else quite happy with it?
Oh, everyone's kicking off on Twitter. Oh, look at me. I managed to do lockdown without starting a podcast. A bully for you. We didn't, and it was brilliant.
Hey, we started it before lockdown. We just started a podcast about days out 2 weeks before lockdown. So... Anyway, welcome to today's audio episode. Today we are discussing a wonderful little town with places that sound genuinely amazing, and I can't wait to dip my feet in. Here to tell us all about Aberystwyth, please welcome to your ears, Bex Luther.
Hello.
Hi. Thanks so much for joining us. So why Aberystwyth? Well, no, first of all, what is Aberystwyth and where, please?
Aberystwyth is a little university town in mid-Wales. So if you follow the coast around in Wales, it's pretty much halfway around on the west coast. And it's got about 20,000 people. I think the population doubles when the students are there. And then it's like a sort of holiday town when they're not. And it's full of people from the West Midlands who go for days out. And it's just beautiful and remote and a wonderful place to be, and it's my favorite place in the world.
What is your connection to Aberystwyth? Because I might be wrong, you don't appear to have a Welsh accent. Like, are you from there? What is it? What's your connection to Aberystwyth?
I used to live there. I was a student there, and then I worked there, and I kind of wish I still was there. The daydream is always for Aberystwyth, to go and live in a nice house on Queen's Road and see the sea every morning, watch the dolphins, listen to the seagulls. Fabulous.
The dolphins?
Yes.
What is it about Aberystwyth then that just holds your heart?
It's where I became me. So everywhere has a place and a time and a culture and a music and films that link in with when they became the person, the adult that they are. And mine happened to be all happening when I was in Aberystwyth.
When were you there?
I feel all cozy.
Yeah, that was really lovely. I was thinking.
Yeah, Will, can you just not gloss over all of the nice moments of our podcast, please? Excuse me. Some facts would be nice.
No, I was just thinking, when were you there? Because depends on the answer. I might have something that adds to the weight of the argument. So when were you there, please?
I was there in the 90s.
Which fits in perfectly because that is very much a time of like cool Cymru, isn't it? And the
yes. So we had train spot in the movie in Scotland, and they had Twin Town was like the Welsh train spotting at the same time. You had all the Welsh bands, you had Manic Street Preachers, Stereophonics, Gorky Zygotic Monkey, all these kind of Welsh bands all at the same time. So it was a really good time to be there.
I'd of those bands, I think most people will have known most of them, apart from Gorky's Zygotic Monkey. But I was at the Machynlleth Comedy Festival a few years ago, and Ellis James, comedian, who I don't know very well at all, was very drunk and was telling me about Gorky's Zygotic Monkey over and over again. And so I started listening, and they're absolutely brilliant. Patio Song is one of the most beautiful songs ever written.
Yeah, Spanish Dance Troupe. That's my favourite. I love Spanish Dance Troupe. Beautiful song. It's nothing to do with Aberystwyth whatsoever, but it's the same kind of vibe. It's kind of a dreamy, remote, Midsummer Night's dreamy kind of vibe, I'd say.
I remember when I've been there, it's almost like a Victorian feel to the beach. Like, was it really in a boon in the Victorian times? Do you know?
Yes, that's when the university got founded. It was in the late 1800s, and it was partly with the railway going there, and it was lots of people, lots of Victorians going to have holidays in the summer, going to the coast. So it feels quite Victorian. I think that was probably its heyday. And there's still lots of bits of that around the town today.
So if we wanted to have like a Victorian-y heritage type day, what are we going to look for?
Well, the first thing you get to is the old college. So that's down on the seafront. Beautiful old, I don't know if it's Gothic, but it looks kind of Gothic to me. All kind of towers and crenellations and little mosaics in the side of scholars. And it's still used by the university, but you don't have too many lectures there. It's mostly administration kind of things. But it's a beautiful thing. It's right bang in the middle of town. And next to the pier, and you've got all the crashing waves coming up onto it. It's beautiful. So that's the most Victorian bit that's still left.
And you also like Devil's Bridge. That's right.
That's your day trip from Aberystwyth. So Devil's Bridge is 12 miles away by steam train. So
yes, I love a steam train.
So you can go by road, or you can go the romantic steam train way through this picaresque kind of landscape over valleys and hills and old bridges and through woodland, and you eventually arrive at this place which is quite unique and singular in the world. It's a big waterfall, big cascade with all rocks around it, and then it's got 3 bridges built one on top of the other across it, and it's again, it's just a spooky, beautiful, legendary spot.
So are all
three bridges? Sorry, we need to rewind back over that.
You and I talked to each other to ask the exact same question. Whoa.
Hang on a minute. 3 bridges built are they
like
all
Legos
bridges?
They're all bridges one on top of the other, so they're still there. The 3 bridges. I think they just basically decided that bridge was a bit knackered, so let's build another one on top of it. But that's where the name of the little town comes from, the little village, and there's like a special legend that goes around it why it's Devil's Bridge.
Ooh,
please.
You know the legend?
So the legend is that an old lady lost a cow. The cow had somehow got across the ravine. I don't quite know how. She couldn't get it back, and she was frothing about it a bit, and the devil turned up and said, listen, I can build you a lovely bridge, get your cow back. It'll take me 1 night to do it, but you have to give me the first living thing that crosses the bridge. So she said, all right, then let's do that. So she went away, stewed about it over the evening, came back in the morning, and sure enough, there was this beautiful bridge that the devil had built overnight. And the devil said, right, here's your bridge, come get your cow. And she set off to go across, but at the last second, she got a loaf of bread, hurled it across the bridge, and her dog went running across, and that was it. The devil was tricked because he got to have the dog, not the old lady. And he was furious, and he disappeared in a puff of logic and anger, and she got her cow back. And that's why it's Devil's Bridge. I don't know if it's true or not.
Though.
The poor dog. Well,
to be honest, that is quite a nice, because those sort of legends, I've heard a couple of other legends that sort of do that, where devil goes, and the woman's like, right, well, I'll do it myself. At the last second, their son runs across, kind of like in a Herod way.
Yeah.
God.
And they lose their kid or whatever. But that's like, oh, nice one, you've beat the devil. Great work.
Dogs like firesides, don't they? They like going down, sitting beside a roaring fire. So
I think the important word there is beside, not on.
Not in.
A lot of bones to chew, though.
Yeah, it might be a
play with Cerberus.
Sweet place for a dog.
So if I was going to Aberystwyth, this is my question that I quite like to ask. I'm going to Aberystwyth, right? And I'm in love. I've been courting for a few months. And yes, it's a whirlwind romance, Will. Just because you're dragging your heels, bloody propose to Beck.
Not you, Bex, and my girlfriend has the same
Becca.
name as you.
I mean, you could propose to Bex here and now. A love match here on the podcast. It's not happening. Okay. Anyway, so back to my love story. We're in Aberystwyth, and I'm looking for the perfect place in Aberystwyth to propose. I want the time of day, what's behind me, what am I seeing, what's the photo moment that the stranger captures and then seeks us out to give us the photo.
I've got one for you.
Yes.
I've got a perfect one. The end of the pier. So there's a pier in Aberystwyth. It's quite a stubby one. It got washed away in a storm, but there is a nightclub and a restaurant, and then a little bit of pier that sticks out beyond that. And because it's facing into the west, you've got the sun setting behind you there. So it's perfect across the bay. You would, if it's the summer, you'd have dolphins potentially jumping out the water behind you. And you've got the famous starling murmurations, which always get put on Spring Watch. They always go down to Aberystwyth and they show all the starlings flying around in great patterns in the sky. As long as the weather was okay, spot on.
Okay, and it's pouring with rain, a la every holiday to Wales I've ever been on in real life. Where am I going if it's raining?
If it's raining, it's mostly an outside kind of town. There's loads of pubs, beautiful pubs. Maybe in the old college, go into the hall there, do it there.
Just quickly back to the Devil's Bridge. I hadn't realised that it was a waterfall under a bridge. I thought the bridge was like solo or triolo. Is it really loud waterfall? Is it like how much water are we talking?
It depends when you're there. If you've had a lot of rain beforehand, it's quite an old dash down there, but it can be a bit of a dribble otherwise. But it's a nice enough. What's the word? It's gone blank. But
Gushing.
Anyway, gushing enough. Yes, it's enough to make a beautiful background and a nice noise. And you walk over the bridges and you walk down the paths to the bottom over the rocks, and there's all these kind of pathways and routes you can walk from there into this beautiful rugged Welsh countryside. Perfect.
How long does the steam train take? Sorry, did you say?
It takes about 40 minutes if I remember right. But it's 12 miles.
And will they let you ever sit in the cockpit? Is the word cockpit? What is it?
Engine.
I think if you bribe them with some beers, I imagine you could do that.
I don't want drink driving train drivers. I don't want one of the oldest like forms of an engine and someone on 6 cans of Grolsch. Whee, let's go to. Is that the same steam train that they'd have at the Monarch Comedy Festival?
I didn't know they had one there. They got the big old train line going through there. But if they do, then I imagine that would be the easiest one to get there. Would be the little.
I've done a gig in that train yard.
We
possibly
did it together.
Possibly with you,
Yeah.
Laura. Good gig.
Oh, well, I had a good one. You struggled, but
I did not struggle. I had a great one, and then I forgot who Dylan Thomas was and claimed he was Irish, which did upset the natives. But I got him back with my wit and charm. I did not go gentle into that bad gig. That's who Dylan Thomas is.
well done. What's the shopping like in Aberystwyth, please, Bex? Is it full of antique shops? I feel like it's full of antique shops.
That might be a bit of a weak point. So, yeah, there are nice kind of craft shops around the town and up on the campus at the university as well. They're lovely.
I once drove from Kettering, where my parents live, to do a gig at Aberystwyth in the university. And it's a good 4.5 hour drive. And about halfway through the drive to Aberystwyth, I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure it's been about a year since I got my car MOT'd. I think it's been roughly a year. And that little niggling thought just stayed in my brain until I had to pull over near Shrewsbury, sort of Oswestry kind of way, into a lay-by and just get up on the website and I hadn't had an MOT for 8 months. And then it had been a year and 8 months. I found a lovely mechanic in Aberystwyth who did it there and then on the day. Failed.
It had been a year and 8 months.
Yeah, pretty bad. Failed horrendously as well, the MOT.
That's your friendly Aberystwyth mercantile spirit.
It was a lot friendlier when I gave him £1,000 of my bloody money. I'll tell you that for nothing.
When I was in Aberystwyth, I have a very strong recollection of a story that was in the news at the time where a car had been stopped on the very steep Penglais Hill. And the handbrake wasn't working, it was just rolling backwards. The police had to sort of stop it themselves manually. And it had a rolled up carpet for a bumper. It had cooking oil for brake fluid. And it was the most rickety effort that has ever driven on any road, I think. So I think people from all around the kind of countryside around come into Aberystwyth to do their shopping in all kinds of jalopies and crazy forms of transport.
It is very hilly, Aberystwyth, isn't it?
It's very hilly, yes.
Very hilly.
So it means that you have at 12 till 1 a.m. kind of trail of students struggling up this very steep hill, carrying kebabs and traffic cones and whatever to get back to their halls of residence. But it's
You get
real kind
cracking
of rite of
calf
passage.
muscles, though. Brighton's hilly, and you do get good legs after a while. Well, not mine, they're too short.
You've got
but-
lovely legs, Laura.
Yeah, because of Brighton. Everything I've got, I owe to the slopey slopes of Brighton.
We should probably talk about the two fabulous hills in Aberystwyth, the two tourist destination hills.
Yes.
So number one, you have Pendennis, which is to the south of the town. And it's another.
Hang on, Will hasn't laughed at that, and it almost sounds like the word penis, and he's mad at you. You're being so grown up, Will.
Nope. I thought of it, and I thought that is funny. But there's a town in West Wales called Aberystwy. I thought that is funnier. I'm not going to laugh at this.
Pendennis, carry on. Sorry.
So the Pendennis does have a lovely phallic construct on the top of it, but it's a like an Iron Age hill fort or something, and then they built a big memorial on the top. But you can see for
you
miles.
love the Iron Age.
Yes, I do.
And come and visit. It's a lovely place to be. It's a bit of a windy walk up to the top, but it's super. So that's at one end of the town, and then at the north end of the town, there's Constitution Hill. And this has got a funicular railway going up the side of it. So that's fun.
What's a funicular railway?
It's one that, oh, crikey, I don't know I don't know the mechanics of it, but it kind of, while one of them goes up, the other car comes down.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Go up the steep side of the hills. So
like a seesaw train.
Yeah. So that
or an
one's up to the
udder.
top. Yes. And then when you get to the top, it's got a camera obscura on the top in a little hut, which is quite interesting.
Ooh.
So
why is it called Constitution Hill? Do you know?
I don't know. You have to
Sounds a
Google
bit
it,
like
put a little
Constitution.
subtitle on.
You have to have a strong constitution to get to the top.
Yeah, it is quite a walk up there, but it's worth it to get to the top.
So is Aberystwyth in a sort of valley then between the two of them?
Yes, and you've got two rivers coming into the town. You've got the Aberystwyth and the Rheidol. And then there's the hills at either end of the town, and then it's in a valley with hills all around it. So yeah, it's perfect. A kind of picturesque spot to build a town.
This is probably a really thick question, but the River Aberystwyth, has that got something to do with the Aberystwyth?
The Aber means mouth of, I think. So it's the mouth of the River Aberystwyth.
Brilliant.
That's fun. And Rheidol means the school from Greece.
Interestingly, Aberystwyth is the name of the high school in Xanadu.
See?
Now there we fucking go. And also Wales is the big animal like a dolphin.
It is.
Well, you've spoiled it now. We came up with
I've
great
spoiled
facts, and you spoiled it. Are there any museums in Aberystwyth, please, Bex?
Yes, there's the Ceredigion Museum, which it's quite small, but it's got a recreation of a theatre in it and various other artifacts.
What's your stroll around Aberystwyth? If you're there for, let's say you're there overnight on a little visit, what are your top 5 must-hit-ups? This can be restaurants, cafes, shops, places, views. What's your top 5 got-to-dos?
Campus,
that rhymed.
Campus for nostalgia, and it's very nice, very pretty campus as well. It's always voted like the best place to be at university in the country, the best experience for a student. So start up at the campus, then walk down Penglice Hill, maybe do some shopping in the town, then to the Pier to go in the arcade there, have a drink, round to the castle. It's got a castle in the town as well, right in the middle, and it's just free to wander around. You don't have to kind of pay to go in or go through a turnstile. It's just there.
Is it a ruin or is it?
It's a ruin, but there's still lots of it there.
Oh, I've got nothing against a ruin.
Oh, we love a ruin.
You can
You
clamber
should
up
see
down
my
the wall.
bloody career, mate.
So is it like a series of small walls, to quote the wonderful Eddie Izzard? Is it like that kind of a ruin, or is there
No, there's a big tower. There's several towers.
Ooh.
It's substantial ruins.
Do you know roughly how old the castle is?
Yeah, I do. I looked it up. It was it's 1277, and then it was slighted by Oliver Cromwell, which I think means it was broken up. But you left enough of it there for it to look nice.
What other castle did we come across that was slighted, Laura?
Kenilworth Castle.
Kenilworth Castle. I've not been in the south too long. Castle. Laura, I have to ask you a question. So, Bex, when we do these interviews, it might not come across that we do research, and we have a shared Google Doc that we both refer to throughout the interview to make sure that every point we want to hit has been hit. We're currently in the questions bit of that document. Now, normally, at the end of the questions bit, it moves on to the next section. But this week is slightly different because Laura has copied and pasted in a poem.
Yes. Well, I was having a look at the Devil's Bridge and I found that there's a Wordsworth poem about the Devil's Bridge. And I thought, do you know who's got a lovely bassy voice? Will Duggan. I bet he'd like to read us a poem. So I put it in there, but I forgot to tell you about it before now. You don't want to hear it from me. I'm all shrill and squeaky. But you have you could talk like Wordsworth, probably.
Shall I try and do it like Richard Burton? To the torrent of Devil's Bridge.
Yes, that's what I was picturing when I copied it.
I'm so sorry about this, Bex. I don't normally. How art thou named, in search of what strange land? From what huge height descending can such force of waters issue from a British source? Or hath not Pindus fed thee? That sounds like penis. Where the band of patriots scoop their freedom out with hand desperate as thine? Or come the incessant shocks from that young stream that smites the throbbing rocks? This is definitely about a dick. Of Via Mala, there I seem to stand, as in life's morn permitted to behold, from the dread chasm, woods climbing above woods, in pomp that fades not everlasting snows, and skies that ne'er relinquish their repose. Such power possess the family of floods over the minds of poets, young or old. For voiceover work, please contact wilrduggan@gmail.com. That wasn't the poem, that last bit, but I thought I'd pop it in. Thank you.
No, Wordsworth put that in. He knew. That was beautiful, Will. But poetry is shit, isn't it?
I'll write a poem about Devil's Bridge right now. Forsooth, said the devil, give me your first life that passeth. But the lady was clever and threweth the grain of bake. The dog damned forever, but the lady happy. Enjoy the water gushing forth. For voiceover, please email wilrduggan@gmail.com. That was in my poem. Right, enough of that nonsense. Bex, I believe you have some questions for Laura and I. I might leave the poem in, I might not.
I do. Okay, I've got a few here. We'll see which ones excite you the most. So the first one is there is a tradition that tourists do when they get to the north end of the prom at the foot of Constitution Hill. Can you tell me what that tradition is?
Ooh.
Do they look up the hill and go, oh, fucking hell, that's steep?
Do they salute the top of the hill?
No, they do something with a body part, though.
Oh, God, I wish we were less childish and better at interviewing people.
Do they tickle their own bumholes?
Do they wink? Do they wink out to sea like, ooh, sailor?
They may do, but I've not heard of that.
Do they wave?
They don't wave. There's running around the promenade. There's like a white metal railing that runs all the way around. They do something with that, with a body part.
Like an arabesque, like a ballet dancer using the rail for support.
Kinda. You're getting close.
Oh, I thought that was a really stupid answer. So
climb over it.
You'd fall probably to your death on the rocks below.
Depends what kind of mood
Try
you're in.
it, Will.
I don't know.
No, I don't know either.
You kick the bar, it's called.
I literally said kick it. For once,
you can have that,
in a conversation, I've been recording what I'm saying, and I bloody said kick it.
He'll just go back and edit the him saying kick it in. He didn't say it, and we know that, Bex, but he'll go back and put it in the edit.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to cut in the very first second of Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys.
All right, 1-0 to Will.
Okay, my second question is, it's a true or false question. So you can arrive in Aberystwyth on a hovercraft ferry service from Aberystwy. True or false?
True. I want that to be true.
for the Sturmendrang, false.
The answer is false, but you used to be able to. So up until 1993, there was a hovercraft that was a spectacular way of entering the town.
Nice.
Come run up the beach, you'd clamber out and go straight to the pub.
Cricket. Question 3, please.
Okay. This is who was the most recent English monarch to be chased out of Aberystwyth?
Prince William.
He's not a monarch unless this goes out in a long time.
Isn't he? Isn't a prince a monarch?
No. You're smart. Don't do this.
But why are they called the monarchy then? I thought that was all of them.
No,
the king or the queen.
Okay.
The monarchy.
Right. I retract my answer. Edward II.
He was in the Kenilworth one, wasn't he? It wasn't him, no.
I love that you listen. Thank you so much. I think it is Charles II.
No, it's very recent. It's Queen Elizabeth II came to visit to open the National Library of Wales, and some protesters managed to chase her off. They had to drive away. It was very exciting. It was the most dramatic thing for years. But yeah, Queen Elizabeth II.
Right. I'm not a royalist by any stretch, but is that treason?
Well, I think if they whacked her, probably hit her with something. But if you're protesting and they just decide to leave because of your protest, that's probably all right, isn't it?
It's bloody council culture, is what it is. What was their issue with the Queen, or just history?
I can't remember. It was probably about the Welsh language and use of that. I think at the time I was quite proud of them, so I don't know whether that's a good thing. But it was a terrible scandal.
Well, thanks for that. You've now lost us all of our royalist listeners.
I think we lost them on episode 1.
You're tugging at your forelock, you spineless pricks.
All right, it's 2-0 to Will. I'm furious. Question 4, please, Bex.
Well, I'm going to stick on the royal family theme. So which current member of the royal family studied at Aberystwyth University?
Now, I think that's Prince William.
No,
it wasn't.
St Andrews.
Yeah, I thought it was I know exactly who it is, but I've made my guess. If Laura gets it wrong, can I have another guess?
You can, but Laura definitely gets next dibs.
All right.
Well, I don't think it was Charles, because I remember... Did that come up in The Crown?
Did that come up in The Crown?
I swear I know all my history from...
Philip, where's Charles? Well, as you know, Liz, he's currently in the middle of his 3-year degree at Aberystwyth University.
Oh, but he is the Prince of Wales. I'm going to say Prince Charles.
Yes.
Yes!
So Prince Charles.
Oh, Will's so annoyed that I worked that out.
I also think you were given some clue, because when you said it's not Prince Charles, Bex just really grimaced and nodded, like, oh, well, that's
Bex and I are best friends, so please don't try and come between us. Thank you. Sorry, Bex, you were explaining the answer.
He had a year or term in Aberystwyth, and he stayed in Pantycelyn Hall, which is the Welsh-speaking hall.
He learned Welsh, didn't he, for his inauguration Was that in the ruined castle in Aberystwyth?
No, it's in another of the magnificent Welsh castles on the coast there. So that was in Carnarvon Castle.
What's the next question, please?
Okay, I'm going to go to what beautiful bird of prey can you see being fed every afternoon at the Bwlch Haran Visitor Centre?
Gemma Collins.
I've not pronounced that properly. But, no, I don't believe she's a bird of prey. She's more a songbird of some kind.
A peregrine
Scavenger.
falcon.
Not peregrine.
Falcon hawk.
It is a type of... It's a falcon or a hawk. It's a type of one of them.
Kestrel.
No. It's got a colour in the name.
A red kite.
Yes, red kite. So there's 150 red kites that they feed. They come down every afternoon and eat whatever it is they put out for them, some meat.
Oh, gorgeous. I love red kites. They're the ones that you can see if you drive up the M40 and you see birds of prey. Yeah. That's red kites when they've reintroduced them.
They're also... My father, whenever he sees a red kite, will point at it and say, red kite.
Okay, it's currently even, Will.
Let's
Shall we
do
have one more question?
Okay, I'm going to go with... A monument to which British Prime Minister stands unfinished on top of Pendennis?
Nye Bevan.
Wasn't the Prime Minister?
Not Nye
Oh.
Bevan.
David Lloyd George.
Wasn't Lloyd George. It was, remember there was a phallic big thing on the top of Pendennis I mentioned earlier.
Lord Hereford's knob.
Not Lord Hereford, no. So he was a war hero.
Field Marshal Montgomery.
No. So he's Prime Minister and a war hero.
Pitt the Elder.
Fuck's sake, no. Was he Welsh?
I don't think so. He's got boots named after him.
Wellington.
Yes.
Ah, well done, Will.
Was it Dr. Martin? Fine.
So who won then? I wasn't keeping it.
Will won. It was 3-2.
I won. Thank you for your wonderful quiz.
So let's sum up Aberystwyth a little bit. We're going to mid but coastal Wales. And it's a lovely small town, a bit Victorian-y, a bit Gothic-y. There's not loads of shopping, so don't go there with an empty suitcase expecting to come back full of anything other than continental meats and cheeses. Check out the museum. What's the best pub?
Best pub would be the Glengower pub on the seafront. So
okay.
There's a little tip for them. So that's a super place. It's where you can sit outside and watch the sun go down, feel it on your face. Beautiful.
Is there anything that people may have read or seen or listened to that features either Devil's Bridge or Aberystwyth? If they've not been there, never heard of it, what could people use as reference point?
Well, that was one of my questions, actually, that I didn't get around to. So one of my spare questions. And it's a programme on Channel 4 and S4C, which is Welsh language Channel 4. And it's called Hinterland, or Ugul, or Ugull, I think it would be in Welsh. And it's a gritty crime noir series. So it's very good, but it's very depressing and grey. I don't think it does Aberystwyth's tourist image that many favours, because it's always raining and grey and a bit grim. But yeah, you can see all the surrounding countryside in that, so that's good, I'd say.
Great. Really good. Laura.
Amazing. And where can people find you, or do you want to be found on social media to find out more about things that you love and are interested in?
I'm at Twitter at superbreeze_Bex.
And if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, we are Laura Lex and William Romano Duggan, and you can find us at National Treasures. No.
Oh, for fuck's sake, it's been so long. I'll do it. This has been a National Treasures interview, a National Treasures production. I am Will Duggan. That was Laura Lex. If you like us, you can find us at TreasuresPod on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us, nationaltreasurespodcast@gmail.com. You can and should like and subscribe these videos on our YouTube channel. And if you want to send us some cash, we'd love that. You can go on to patreon.com/National Treasures. Thank you, Bex. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, William. Goodbye.
Bye.